All right, good to see everybody. We're definitely excited for Friday night. What an incredible way for our fans and our students to start their weekend. Big time college football, Arizona Stadium, retro night. Y'all feeling my jacket? I'm not sure who gave this to me. I think it might be Nancy Kincaid gave this to me. But someone gave this to me when I first got hired here. This old school Nike windbreaker. I don't even know if they make windbreakers anymore, but I'm excited to see what our fans turn out in. And I'm hoping for some really cool retro gear rocking in the stands for this game on Friday night. You know, we had last night I went over and saw Zona Zoo. Just like have such an appreciation for those students and how much, what a great job they do just organizing that and getting kids fired up to show up on game day. Just all the effort they put into that. It's a great group of young people, you know, on campus leading the charge there. I think it's really, really fun. And this is a big opportunity for us, obviously. This is a big game. We're playing an excellent opponent. They've got great players, they're extremely well coached, and so we know we've got an incredible big time battle coming on Friday night. So we need the city of Tucson, we need our fans, our students, Greek Row, fire up, man. I was a member of the Greek system back in the day. Let's go, let's get this thing rocking. Zona Zoo, all of you, we are calling all Wildcats everywhere. Let's pack the stadium and make this thing rocking on Friday night. It'll be an awesome, awesome atmosphere. I'm really, really looking forward to it. I'm ready for your questions.
Thank you, Coach. Start with Justin and then Troy.
And kind of with that, with the environment, last year it was your first road game as being the head coach of Arizona. I know it was a non-conference game, but it was kind of your introduction to Big 12 culture. What do you remember about that environment and just that whole game?
I thought they did a great job there, you know, in Manhattan. Obviously, I'm not spending a lot of time looking back to last year, but the environment there, they did a heck of a job. And I think that's one of the things that we learned throughout the course of the season, where every game we played on the road, we played in really hostile environments. And that's why we continue to talk about packing Arizona Stadium. That's why we continue to talk about the impact of the home crowd, the impact of Zona Zoo, the impact of our fans, and how important it is.
And then Avery Johnson on the other side, mobile quarterback. What do you remember about facing him last year, and what challenges does he bring this time around?
Well, I think he's obviously a dynamic dual threat guy. He throws it well, and he's got a lot of speed. He's a dangerous runner. And so anytime you play somebody like that, it really, really challenges your defense on all, in all aspects of your defense. And you have to do a great job of tackling. We got to have population in the football to make sure that we get people on the ground and don't let people get out and get loose on us. But he's a really, really good player.
Troy and then Michael.
Rhino was able to play last week. Just your overall thoughts on his performance and how he's been able to battle back to where he is now.
I was so excited to see Rhino play. And I think Rhino was excited to play, and I think, he looked like a guy who's coming back from a serious injury. And so he's got work to do, but I got a lot of faith in Coach Oglesby and his ability to develop and teach and coach that position. And I know he'll have Rhino ready as we continue to progress.
Michael and then David.
When you're studying the Kansas State defense, how much can you take out of last week's game because of the way Army plays, which is so unconventional?
Yeah, I think when you look at last week's defense, you really don't, or last week's scheme, you don't get a lot out of that because that's so different. There's only a few people that run that stuff offensively, and it's one of the reasons they're so effective. But what you do see is you see Kansas State playing their tails off. You see them playing really hard. You see them playing with physicality.
David and then Brian.
Coach, after you watched the tape and looked at Noah's performance, especially the way he started that game, how important was it for Seth to really give him a game plan that got him that confidence early in the game?
Well, the thing I would tell you is that Coach Daggy gives Noah a game plan like that every week. And it doesn't always go that way, but every week we're trying to put Noah Fafita in the best position to be able to make plays and utilize his talent. But obviously last week started off well. I was really, really proud of Noah. I thought he really responded because I knew he was frustrated the week before. He felt like he missed some throws, but I thought he was really dialed in. He was dialed in all week in practice. He continues to find his edge in the extra, in the in between, and the unrequired. And so you find, when you do that consistently, you give yourself a chance for good performances.
And as a guy who's coached a lot of wide receivers, what stands out to you about Brandon Phelps? Obviously got his first touchdown, and what potentially that young guy could add to this line.
No, we're excited about BP. He's a young guy. He was injured a year ago, and so he had to sit out the season. But just to watch his growth, first of all, he's tough, super high care factor. He's a red line guy, and I think that speaks to you're starting to see him make more of a move in that room. I think it also speaks to just, I think we're, all this offseason, we've been talking a lot about the receiver room. And I think you're seeing those guys, the different pieces in that room, start to show up and contribute in meaningful ways, which we're excited about.
Brian, and then Jason.
How did you have to adjust the preparation schedule this week with the shortened window?
Yeah, I think the outside world would think it's a big deal. For me, it's not that big a deal. I'm excited because we get to play sooner. We don't have to wait as long to play. Players were off yesterday, and then we're into a week now. So, we're into a normal week. So that was just, we needed to use yesterday as a recovery, and we needed to also utilize it for our coaching staff to get a jump on the Kansas State stuff, right?
Jason, and then Justin.
Fans kind of view this as a proven game, like you guys have beaten two teams. This is by far the best opponent you're facing. Does the coaching staff, does the players take that angle at all? It's like, okay, this game is, we need to kind of prove it's for real, or does that come up at all?
It doesn't come up at all because every week we're trying to prove it. Every week we're trying to prove that we're a good football team. Doesn't matter who we're playing. And so this is the most important game of the year because it's the only one we get to play this week. You know what I mean? And it's against a good opponent. It's against a conference opponent, an opponent that has been historically very good, right? And they've got a good football team this year. And so every time you play these guys, you're in for a four-quarter fight.
Justin, and then Michael.
So Trace Spivey was able to get a touchdown catch, obviously playing against his former team coming up this week. What has he shown you since he's gotten to Arizona, and what did you make out of his game last week?
I think Trey's really made a great move. I think, that's really shown up, I'd say, more so in training camp. I think in the spring he was learning and getting used to everything, but I've really been excited about his development. He's proven that he's a super high care factor guy. He's a really hard worker who wants to take every rep, and I think that's exciting. I think today's day and age, you do see a lot of receivers, high school receivers, even college receivers, be infected by cool guy, where they just, they don't want to work hard, or they want to look sweet when they catch the ball. They don't want to block, all that stuff. But, that's not our receiver group. That's not how Coach Wade is coaching them. That's not Trey Spivey. Trey, he's willing to block. He's tough. He loves it. He wants to make plays. He wants to take every rep. He never wants to come out of the game. That's what I love about it.
Michael, and then Troy.
So you guys had, I think, 12 pass catchers who caught at least one ball this past week. Obviously, the dynamic has changed in the receiver room and so forth, as you've mentioned many times. But what do you make of just kind of the target distribution and how that, is that advantageous?
Absolutely, I think it's advantageous. I think, any time that you can distribute the ball to more people that can impact, the game, it's good for your offense. And I think Noah's doing a really good job of getting through his progressions, or going to the right person, or even creating, creating some. If he gets flush or whatever, still creating and still finding people to deliver the ball to. So I'm really encouraged by that. I think if we can continue to distribute the football, I think it makes us tougher to defend instead of being one-dimensional. So I'm excited about it.
Troy, and then David.
How much of an emphasis this week is going to be on penalties? Because the last couple of weeks it kind of stacked up, and against Weber State it kind of stacked up there, but some were declined.
Yeah. I don't want us to hold. We're not supposed to hold. We're not supposed to target. You know what I mean? Like, we're supposed to play football the right way, and holding is a penalty. So we don't want to do that crap. Like, we want to play clean, we want to play hard, but we need to do things the right way, because we can't put ourselves in a situation where that was stalled out multiple drives in our first two games, right? Put us behind the sticks or whatever. So that's a huge point of emphasis this week.
David, and then Justin.
Coach Wesley Yabo got into the game for the first time. How is he different in what you see than the other two guys that are available to you right now, in Ishmael and Quincy?
We're excited about Wesley. He's a young player. He's, even early in training camp, we had a young guy scrimmage, and Wesley got the bulk of the carries in that game, and it was great. Like, we all came out of that scrimmage really, really excited about his physicality, excited about his vision. He's a young player, but he's a really high care factor player. It's part of one of the things that we're looking for when we evaluate players in the recruiting process. We're looking for those guys that are, come early, stay late, redline, just all about it all the time, and that's Wesley. And so we're really excited about it.
Mason Pesse is another young guy who's kind of stood out early on that defensive side. What's his upside look like to you right now?
I'm really excited about Mace. I think he's a young player. He's explosive. He's powerful. He's just, kind of growing into his body as a young man. But, as he continues to get stronger and he combines, some real strength with that explosion, he's going to be hard to deal with.
Justin and then Brian.
Just looking at the offensive line as a whole, what are some things that you'd like to see through the first couple of games, and what are some things that need to improve?
Yeah, I think, we ran the ball pretty effectively, and that has shown up well. I think we also, last week we obviously threw the ball well. And so no position group on our football team has played perfect, right? So we got a lot of work to do across the board. But I know Coach Oglesby is one of the best O-line coaches I've ever been around. And his detail and his thoroughness, and also like getting those guys to play together, like that's part of being in the games, right? It's 5 guys, it's not just one position or it's a single guy lined up by himself, or you know what I mean? There's like more teamwork involved in that, for lack of a better term. There's much more communication involved in order for that thing to work in concert, right? And that's what you're figuring out, because it is hard to simulate a Big 12 defensive line in the practice environment, right? And so trying to get us ready for that. And I think, I'm excited about the development of some players in that group. I'm excited. I think Michael Wooten is becoming a better player. I think Kaena is doing a fantastic job as our center. I'm really excited about Deuce, another young player. I mean, there's young players out there who are contributing in meaningful ways. And then I think Ty Buchanan is a tough guy. And I love that part of him, and we've gotten good reps out of Tristan and Rhino. So, Rhino, as you guys saw, looked a little fatigued on Saturday night, his first reps in, not a year, but a long time. Because I was laughing watching it, because, we ran a tempo play, and the whole line was like over here, and then Rhino was like trying to get there. It's hard to simulate what a game feels like, right? But I'm encouraged by that group. I'm excited to see them play on Friday.
And I'm only asking just because there's no availability report this week. Any updates on Trey and Kendrick?
Not right now.
Brian and then Michael.
It's kind of going to be my question, so let me pivot a little bit. I know you said you try not to dwell too much on the past, but do you, when it comes to like a revenge game for players, do you try not to emphasize that in any way, that don't look at this as a way to get back at a previous game?
I don't think we don't talk that way. I don't think players talk that way. Once you get into the season, the games are on top of you so fast. You're just so focused on everything you can do to give yourself a chance and your team a chance to play the best football we can. And so you're really locked into that. What do they do on offense, defense, special teams? How are we going to execute at a high level? It's really more focused on us handling our business versus worrying about something else out there.
Michael and then Troy.
Weber State ran zone read type plays 3 or 4 times. Some of them were successful, some of them were not.
Yep.
I imagine we'll see some of that with Kansas State this week.
Right.
What are the keys for the edge defenders in those types of scenarios?
Yeah, they can't get sucked in. They have to play. They have to contain the quarterback. There's somebody responsible for him, right? And so we have to be smart with that. We have to be great with our eyes, especially, we mentioned Avery earlier, because he's such an effective runner, right? So we got to do a great job with that. I know our defense is coaching the hell out of that, and I'm confident we'll get it fixed.
Troy and then Jason.
With this game being on Fox national television, just
We got
the
to
recruit.
Big 12 shirt, dude.
The recruiting boost that it does for a program, just being in the national spotlight on a Friday night game.
Oh, I think it's awesome. I think it's great anytime you can play on Friday night on national TV. It's an incredible opportunity for your team. It's a fun deal, because as being involved in college football, you know that everybody that's playing on Saturday is sitting in a hotel watching that game. You know what I mean? So I think it's a lot of fun. I also think it's a lot of fun for our students. I think it's fun for our fans. It's on a different day. It's a night game, Friday night lights. All of our players remember the glory days of high school football. Friday night lights, how special that is. So we're looking forward to it.
Jason and then David.
When you look at Kansas State last week, Army time of possession was a big deal. Some coaches value it, some don't. What's your personal opinion on value of time of possession?
I think every game is different. I know this, when you're playing one of the academies, that's what they do to you. Right? They possess the ball for so long. They run it almost every time. So you end up going into those games like anticipating having 6 to 8 possessions. And so the hard thing about playing those teams is that they put a different kind of pressure on you, because if you don't score, if you don't have success, if you don't move the ball, then you feel like you're stuck watching them go for it on 4th down, 10 times. But and I have a lot of respect for Coach Monken and that Army crew. Those guys are good guys and good coaches. So it's just time of possession thing. I think it changes game to game. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure what it was last week, but I would assume it was pretty close in time of possession, right? So I think for us, if we are explosive offensively, it's not as big of a category. If we're trying to play more of a ball control game, and that happens too. Sometimes we're like, hey, we need to keep the ball out of their hands, that kind of thing. So it's a game-to-game decision, but like going into it, I don't put a ton of emphasis in it.
David and then Justin.
Coach, in terms of that zone read defense, when the quarterback keeps the ball and you're the first guy that's supposed to be responsible gets sucked in, what's important for that defensive back who's kind of left out there, like Michael Dansby was in that first instance in the game?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, the receiver's supposed to be blocking Michael Dansby too, right? So he's got to navigate both those things. To me, I would say that one of the ways that you eliminate that is by getting the population of the football, and that's red line, right? So if we are living the red line and we are all over it, then if there is a mistake, we can hopefully erase it by playing with fanatical effort and getting people there and getting the ball carried on the ground.
Justin and then Michael.
So you'll be playing against Gunnar Maldonado from Wildcat. How do you remember the 1 year that you guys?
I love Gunnar Maldonado. He's an awesome young man. He's a great kid. He's a great Wildcat. So I got nothing but love for him.
Michael.
The one time you guys punted, Avery Salerno ran down there, and then he didn't tackle.
He thought the guy
Is
signaled
that
fair
what it
catch.
was?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We were coaching the hell out of that play. I promise you. Yes.
Justin.
And kind of along the special teams lines, just so far, what do you make of special teams so far through 2 games?
I think it's been highs and lows, good and bad. I think we're learning how to be a high-level special teams outfit. And I think that's something that Coach Nyberg is a fantastic football coach, and he is so detailed and so thorough. And so it's getting our guys, everybody understanding the impact that part of the game has on the outcome and just how critical it is. And so obviously we know playing the team we're playing this week, we know that they're historically one of the best special teams outfits in the country. So it's an incredible challenge for our special teams. It's an incredible challenge for our coaching staff, and we're looking forward to it.
And I know you're focused on game stuff, but what do you think about just Arizona Athletics' effort for the stuff around the game, like the conference series, tailgate?
I think it's awesome.
Drone show.
Yeah, drone show at halftime. How cool is that going to be? I've only seen those on the internet and stuff, but I'm not normally in a locker room when those things happen. But they look cool, and I think it'll be great for our fans. And I think one of those, I really give Desiree and her staff a ton of credit, because they're being really creative, finding new ways to make it a great game day experience for our fans. The concert thing looks amazing. We see it when we walk in during the Wildcat Walk. The Wildcat Walk has been amazing. We've got great turnout and great enthusiasm for that thing, both the last 2 Saturdays. And I think they've done everyone I talk to talks about the food in the stadium is good, and so everything we can do to make it a great experience for our fans when they come to an Arizona football game is critical. And then we have to add the final component, which is playing good football on the field.
Our last 2 will be David and then Michael.
In terms of the kickoff, Brent, did you guys purposely underkick that last one to get a return on it? And in the last few years, you haven't had a lot of kick returns.
Yeah, we've been blessed with NFL kickoff guys.
When
You
you
know
have
what I mean?
when you have a guy like Ian who can put it in the end zone every time, do you still spend the same amount of practice time on that? Because
Yes, you do. You absolutely do. Just because I think the challenging thing about special teams is you are either defending space, like a crazy amount of space, or you're attacking with a crazy amount of space. And so because you don't spend as much time in that world as you say offense and defense, because there's a far lower percentage of those plays in the game, but those are huge plays in the game. And so that the emphasis of the kickoff coverage is so important, and we practice the hell out of that.
did you purposely underkick that last
No, we don't do that.
Last question with Michael.
Well, I'll just go with 2 since.
I mean, everyone's,
Yeah,
this is
right?
2 for Tuesday.
Last question.
Everyone's getting 6 questions per guy.
So how big of a role do you envision Riley Wilson and Chase Kennedy possibly playing in this game because of their athleticism and versatility versus a guy like Avery Johnson?
Yeah, I think we're excited about both those guys, you know what I mean? And getting Riley back, I think, is a shot in the arm for us. And so we're excited to see them play. They both made some plays the other night, which was exciting. And so just watching their involvement grow, as we keep playing more and more football.
And then you have zero control over what the opponent does, but in the back of your mind, would you have preferred that Kansas State won that game last week, or no?
I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you why. We talk so much with our team about focusing on what you can control, and I have to live that too. You know what I mean? So whatever happens the week before with an opponent is whatever happens. It doesn't change the fact that we need to get ready for a big time matchup in Arizona Stadium Friday night.
All right.